You know those moments in life when everything just snaps, when the world tilts on its axis and you realize the quiet you've been clinging to was never really peace. It was just the eye of the storm, waiting, patient, inevitable, and then bam, here comes the wind, here comes the rain, here comes the truth you can't outrun anymore. Yeah, that's where this starts, right there on Elmwood Lane, that deceptively gentle suburban stretch in the heart of Oak Ridge Estates, where the road bends sharp and sudden around a cluster of ancient maples, the kind of curve that doesn't announce itself. It just waits, crouched low, ready to punish anyone who forgets it's there. I still see it every single day when I step onto the porch with my coffee, steam rising slow into the morning chill, that same damn bend staring back at me like it knows something I don't want to remember, but I remember everything, every second of it, because 7 years ago it took my wife, Sarah. Took her in the dark, in the rain, after a double shift at Riverside General, when exhaustion sat heavy on her eyelids and the wipers couldn't keep up, and she drifted just enough, corrected too hard, and the world flipped, metal screaming, glass exploding, then silence, the worst kind of silence, the kind that echoes inside your ribcage for years. No official sign ever went up. Not from the county, not from anyone who mattered. Maybe budget cuts, maybe low priority, maybe they figured one tragedy was enough to teach the lesson nobody needed to learn twice. Except it wasn't enough, because I kept seeing cars hug that edge too close, tires kissing gravel, drivers jerking the wheel at the last heartbeat. So I did what any man drowning in grief and helpless rage would do. I went down to the garage late one night, pulled out a length of cedar I'd been saving for nothing in particular, cut it square, sanded it smooth, sealed it against the weather, painted those words in stark black: dangerous curve, slow down, simple, blunt, impossible to miss. Then I dug the post 2 feet deep myself, poured the concrete under a sky the color of bruised peaches, while my boy Ethan, only 10 back then, stood beside me holding the flashlight steady, not saying a word, because what words are there when your mom's gone and your dad's hands are shaking as he plants a piece of wood like it's the last thing tethering him to her. We finished in silence, just the scrape of the shovel, the soft plop of wet cement, the beam of light trembling a little because his small arms were tired, but he wouldn't let it waver. And when it was done, we stepped back, looked at it standing there 3 feet from the ditch where her car had come to rest. Upside down, and I swear, for the first time in months, I could breathe without the weight crushing my lungs completely. It wasn't flashy, wasn't pretty, but it was ours, a marker, a promise. Love carved into timber, grief turned into purpose, and for years it worked. Cars slowed, neighbors nodded thanks as they passed, delivery guys gave me a thumbs up, and every time someone made it through that bend untouched, I felt a tiny piece of the hole in my chest knit itself back together, even if just a fraction. Then the suits showed up, not literally, but figuratively. The Oak Ridge Estates Homeowners Association, the OEHA, with their pressed khakis and laminated rulebooks and that polished smile that says we're all in this together, while their eyes scream control, because our little slice of land had been grandfathered outside their borders when we bought the house. But boundaries creep, maps get redrawn, new developments swallow old lines. And suddenly we were inside their kingdom. No vote, no say, just subject to their whims, their aesthetics, their precious visual harmony. The first notice came in a crisp envelope. Silver oak leaf logo gleaming under the porch light. Polite, professional, deadly, informing me that my handmade sign violated Section 4.2c. No unapproved structures visible from public thoroughfares, disrupts community branding, detracts from property values. Please remove within 14 days or face escalating fines. I read it twice, 3 times, felt my pulse climb into my throat like it was trying to escape, called the number, straight to voicemail, emailed, crickets, so I showed up at the next board meeting, sat through an hour and a half of debates about mailbox colors, pool hours, someone's unauthorized bird feeder, then finally they let me speak. I held up the photo, Sarah smiling in her scrubs, the mangled car, the timestamp from the coroner, and I told them, voice low but steady, about the night she didn't come home, about the near misses I'd witnessed, about how that sign had changed behavior on that road for half a decade. Eleanor Hargrove. Board president, folded her hands like she was about to lead prayer, offered a sympathetic tilt of the head. "We're truly sorry for your loss, Mr. Harrington," she said, voice smooth as glass. "But rules exist for a reason. Exceptions erode standards. We simply can't." And Tyler Donovan, the treasurer with the perpetual smirk, leaned back and added, "Besides, no accident since hers. Right? Seems like things are fine without it." I felt the air leave the room, felt my own breath catch somewhere between lungs and fury. They voted 5-0, violation upheld. Remove it or pay. Back home, I collapsed on the porch swing. Ethan, 17 now, taller than me, quieter than ever, came out with 2 cold root beers, sat beside me without a word, just presence, solid, real. And after a long minute I whispered, "They can't have it, not without blood." Meaning mine, meaning ours, meaning hers. I appealed, sent everything, old police sketches, neighbor affidavits, county emails admitting the curve's danger but citing resource limitations, weather logs from that night 7 years ago, still denied, final warning, removal by July 12th, or their crew would handle it and bill me. Bill me for erasing my wife's last echo on this earth. I thought about chaining myself to the post, calling every news station within 100 miles, maybe even a hunger strike for dramatic effect. But life keeps moving, dishes pile up, lawns grow, kids need rides. So I waited, told myself they'd at least give notice, a courtesy, something human. They didn't. July 12th, 9:14 a.m. I'm upstairs fixing a squeaky door hinge when Ethan shouts up the stairs, "Dad, they're here." Voice tight, edged with something I hadn't heard since he was little and scared. Of thunderstorms, I look out the window and see 2 white OHA maintenance trucks nosed against the curb, for guys in neon vests, one already hefting a post-hole digger, another with a reciprocating saw glinting in the sun like it was grinning. I bolt downstairs barefoot, hit the porch running, gravel biting into my soles, yelling, "Stop! Wait, that's not trash, that's not yours." But they barely glance up. One mutters, "Board order, sir, just following protocol." And then the pry bar goes in. Wood groans, concrete cracks like bone. The post leans, snaps free. And my sign, her sign, our sign, tumbles into the truck bed like discarded lumber. Ethan stands frozen beside me, fists balled so hard his knuckles bleach white. I ask where they're taking it. No answer. Doors slam. Engine revs. They're gone. Dust settling. Empty spot glaring. 5 minutes, maybe 6. Then it happens. Screech of rubber fighting asphalt. A horn blaring sharp and panicked. Then impact. Metal on metal. Deep. Wet. Final. We whip around. Smoke rising lazy from just beyond the bend. An OHA security Tahoe crumpled against a black, unmarked interceptor. Airbags hanging like surrendered flags. Glass everywhere. Someone screaming in the distance. Lights flash within minutes. Deputies. Fire. Paramedics. Another OHA vehicle pulling up slow like it owns the tragedy. And then Eleanor Hargrove arrives in her spotless Audi. Heels clicking on gravel like accusations. Badge dangling from her blazer like a medal she didn't earn. She surveys the scene, jaw set, eyes skipping over me until she can't anymore. Then she walks straight up, voice clipped. "Did you witness the collision?" I say I heard it, right after your crew ripped out the only warning that curve ever had. Her lips thin to a line. "You're not implying that homemade eyesore would have prevented this?" And I don't answer with words, just look at her, long and hard. Because implication isn't needed when the proof is smoking 20 yards away. The driver of the security Tahoe had a busted shoulder, swearing through gritted teeth as they cut him out. But the other one, the state trooper in the interceptor, Sergeant Marcus Hale, had it worse, neck braced, blood streaking his face, lifted slow onto the stretcher like he weighed 1,000 pounds of broken duty, and in that moment something cold and certain settled in my gut. This wasn't coincidence. This was consequence. Their arrogance painted in chrome and blood. Next morning, their email blast hits every inbox in Oak Ridge Estates. Regret to inform, unfortunate incident involving valued security team member, under investigation, aware that prior unauthorized signage may have created driver confusion, removed per regulation, safety remains priority through official channels, blah blah liability dodge. Visual harmony sermon. I read it jaw-locked, so tight my molars ache. They didn't mention Sarah, didn't mention years of averted disaster. Just flipped the script, so I was the chaos agent. The one who confused drivers by daring to care. Ethan reads over my shoulder. Voice low, they're blaming you, Dad. Yeah, kid. They are, and the scary part is they might get away with it. Because they've got lawyers on retainer, deep pockets, friends on the zoning board. While I've got a garage full of tools, a box of faded reports, and a teenage son who shouldn't have to watch his father get erased by paperwork and polo shirts. Tyler Donovan shows up later that day. Khaki uniform crisp, clipboard extended like a white flag dipped in condescension. Just need your acknowledgement of removal, Mr. Harrington, and there's a small admin fee, $287.50. For labor and disposal. Ethan steps forward. Are you kidding? Tyler shifts, uncomfortable but committed. Rules are rules. Exceptions break the system, you understand? No, I don't. But I let him leave the form on the railing and signed, because signing would mean surrender, and surrender isn't in me anymore. That night's sleep won't come, so I sit in the garage surrounded by Sarah's ghost. Old photos, sealed autopsy folder I still can't open all the way, dashcam stills from neighbors showing how my sign caught headlights like a beacon, proof it worked. Proof they destroyed something vital. And as dawn creeps and I make a decision, quiet, final, no more asking permission to grieve, no more bowing to aesthetics over lives, time to fight, really fight. I start small, drop a USB of footage and files at the State Patrol headquarters, leave my number, mention Sergeant Hale still critical in surgery, then wait, 3 days of heavy silence. Board members averting eyes on the street. No more letters, no more trucks, but tension thick as summer humidity. Then Thursday morning engines growl again. Different crew this time. Laminated notice nailed to the pole. Expanded enforcement zone. Further violations noted. Landscaping lights. Mailbox design. My hand-painted birdhouse from Sarah's dad. They're not just erasing. The sign, they're erasing me, piece by petty piece. I don't yell, just watch, document, photograph every step, every measurement, every smirk, then dive deeper. Old hard drive. Crash reconstruction. Notes from my days assisting investigations before grief made me quit. Patterns emerge. Angles, sightlines, reaction windows. Sarah wasn't the first close call, just the first fatality. And now thanks to them, maybe not the last. I call in favors. Greg Salazar, retired crash expert who once tried to push me to sue the county after Sarah, shows up with drone and measuring gear. Maps every inch. Confirms what I knew in my bones. Without that sign, visibility collapses, reaction time halves, preventable becomes probable. Teresa Lang, civil engineer friend, runs models. Risk jumps 85% naked. She swears it under affidavit. Meanwhile, Tyler's law firm cousin sends certified threat, cease interference or face suit for $4,000 plus damages. Classic bully move. Paperwork is weapon. But I'm past fear now, past exhaustion. Running on something sharper, cleaner, righteous. Then the second crash, surreal, almost biblical, another OHA. SUV barrels the bend too hot. Meets another trooper sedan head-on. Same blind angle, same arrogance, same result. Twisted steel, sirens, blood. Eleanor appears again. Same blazer, same denial. But this time deputies listen closer when I point to the empty grass scar where my sign stood days earlier. This time neighbors start whispering louder. This time Sergeant Hale, out of surgery. Battered but breathing. Calls me himself, voice rough gravel. I read your file. Watch the clips. That sign would have bought me seconds. Maybe enough. They're not pinning this on you. Not while I draw breath. The tide turns hard. Neighbors come forward. Old complaints ignored. Near misses documented. A mom whose daughter totaled her car there 4 years back hands me her file. With trembling fingers, exhibit after exhibit stacks up. News crew arrives. Maria Chun from Channel 9 stands at the curve with me. Camera rolling. I speak plain. No tears, just truth. They removed a warning that saved lives for years, replaced it with nothing. Now 2 troopers are hurt. How many more before someone admits fault? Board meeting turns chaotic. Standing room. Residents rise one after another. Stories spill. Tears fall. Greg films from the back. Pressure builds. Then my lawyer Rachel Klein, sharp, Fearless, pro bono warrior, files for injunction. Freezes their discretionary funds, cites retaliation, misuse of authority, bad faith. Bomb drops. Tyler shows up at my door hat in hand, mumbling apologies. Didn't think it'd go this far. Yeah, that's the problem. Nobody thinks until blood's on the pavement. Emergency vote. Eleanor ousted in landslide. Tyler resigns in disgrace. New board steps in. Reasonable people, they write me real letters, withdraw fines, fund proper signage. Invite me to chair a safety committee open to all. No gates, no elitism, just care. Courtroom day comes, wood-paneled tension, flags hanging solemn. Rachel dismantles them piece by piece. Footage plays. Drone comparisons cut like knives. Sergeant Hale's affidavit read aloud. Judge listens, eyes narrowing. Then settlement offered. Read into record. Damages paid. Public apology. Permanent signs installed under state supervision. Oversight committee mandated. All my fines erased. Eleanor stares at the table, power leaking out of her like air from a punctured tire. Weeks later, a crew bolts up the real deal. Reflective, regulation, double-posted, dangerous curve, reduced speed, yellow diamond below, bend silhouette clear. As a warning carved in stone, paid for by the same association that once called my love an eyesore, plaque at the base, bronze letters, dedicated to Sarah Harrington. May her memory protect others. People stop now, leave flowers, notes, pebbles arranged in hearts. Kids draw pictures taped to the post. Ethan and I watch from the shoulder sometimes, coffee in hand, wind whispering through the maples. He asks if I'd forgive them. I think about it. Long and slow. Say Sarah probably would have tried. She had that kind of heart. Mine's still working on it. But peace? Yeah, I found some. Not the loud kind. The quiet kind. Morning coffee without dread. Sun rounding the bend without flinching. Her name meaning life saved instead of life lost. So here I am, asking you, watching this, feeling whatever's stirring in your chest right now. Was it justice, or just revenge dressed up nice? Did the ends justify every bitter step, or did I become the thing I hated, fighting power with? More power. When does righteous anger cross into obsession? When does protecting memory become refusing to let go? Was the system broken beyond repair, or did it just need one stubborn man to force it? To look in the mirror. I don't have easy answers. Maybe you do. Drop them below. Tell me where you land. Because this isn't just my story anymore. It's ours. Every neighborhood. Every rulebook that forgets people bleed. Every sign that gets torn down because it doesn't match the vibe. Every life that might have been spared if someone had listened sooner. What would you have done? And would it have been enough?